So court can be a real waste of time. An example from this morning. My office is in Calvert County, Prince Frederick. I had a hearing this morning at 9:30 in Rockville. And if you're a Maryland person in the Washington area, you know what it's like to travel around the Beltway in the morning. Interestingly, this morning there was very little traffic. In any event, before I finished, I spent about an hour and a half driving two ways. Actually, it was closer to 2.5 hours, driving two ways in my car, put on 114 miles, driving from my office to Rockville. There we sat in the courtroom. Ultimately, we had a hearing before a judge after we had waited until about 10:45, so we waited in the courtroom for an hour and 15 minutes. Then we had a 15-minute hearing over a very significant jurisdictional issue that may very well go on appeal to the Maryland Court of Appeals. And then I drove back to my office, arriving a little bit after noon. So for a 15-minute hearing, I spent pretty close to 4 hours. Was it worth it? It's a really significant issue, not something that the appellate courts have dealt with before. Yes, it only took 15 minutes, but that's the way it works. And it's important for you to know that. When we do court work, we spend more time sitting in the courtroom waiting than we do standing in front of the judge arguing our cases. The exception to that is if we have a trial of some length. Once we get the trial started, it goes. So if I have a 3 or 4 day trial, and I do have one in a month, coming up in a month, once I get that trial started, and I may have to wait around an hour or two to get started, but once it's started, we're going. And then when we come back the next day, we're typically the very first thing the judge handles, and he handles it for that day. And if we come back for a third day, the judge handles it right away again.